This podcast episode is sponsored by Toro de Lidia Tequila, a 100% blue agave tequila that's available at all Specs locations in Texas. Visit tequilatorodelidya.com for details.
What's going on, everybody? This is Leo, and you are checking out the JMG Live Music Lounge. Keep it locked right here, y'all. Peace and love.
What's up? This is Afrojack, and you're listening to the JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hi there, I'm Sonny James.
I'm Ram Shano.
And you're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
You already know what it is. It's Jack Queese, and you're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hey, this is Dyro, and you're listening to the JMG Live Music Lounge.
What's up, Malone?
Hey, this is CC Tennessee. You're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hey, everybody, this is Justin Smollett. It's your boy, DJ Chuck.
Hey, this is Mary Lambert, and you're listening to the JMG Live Music Lounge.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
Jakari, nice to meet you.
JMG Live Music Lounge with Jakari Harris. Hear it first with your favorite music artists and celebs. Interviews and entertainment.
What's up? This is Tristan Hawke. You're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 22nd episode of the JMG Live Music Lounge. I'm your host, Jakari Harris, as well as the music editor for JMG Magazine. You know, we have a special episode of the Music Lounge with an interview with four-time Academy Award nominee Ethan Hawke and singer and songwriter Ben Dickey. You know, Ethan and Ben have a new movie that was just released this month called Blaze, and the guys had a lot to say about this Texas-inspired movie.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
Such a crazy, crazy party. Never seen so many people. Look at you,
yes.
laughing. Yeah, nice shoes, man.
Oh,
Look at
thank you. Thank you very much. I was coming to see you today.
Yeah, well, I can see myself in the shoes.
There you go.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
So the new movie, Blaze, is a biopic that's based off the life of Blaze Foley. Foley was an Austin-based country blues singer that was murdered in 1989. And Ethan brought this project to life as one of the producers and director of the film. Ben plays Foley in the movie, and he's already receiving praise for his performance by receiving the Special Jury Award at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year. I've always been a fan of Ethan since his breakout movie Reality Bites to Training Day, which he co-starred with Denzel Washington. So I met up with Ethan and Ben at Rockefeller's when they were in Houston promoting the movie, and they were both so passionate about this film. So I started the interview by asking Ethan why he decided to make a film about Blaze Foley's life.
Well, it doesn't really work like that in my head anyway. Like it started more like wanting to make a film with Ben, and we had an intersection in a love of music and a love of Blaze Foley, and I've been following Ben's musical career and really believed in him as a musician, and I've watched over the last 20 years, I guess, as I've been paying attention how the music industry has changed, and it's always been tough, and I thought I could make a really interesting movie about creativity and music itself with a musician. Like, one of the things that's missing in a lot of music movies is that, you know, a lot of actors are good at music, they're okay at it, but they're not musicians.
Right.
You know, where their primary relationship in their life is to music. And I thought if I could put that on film, it would be really special. And Blaze Foley's life lent itself to a story. It has tragedy, and it has real love inside of it. And it was this deep, deep well and resource of which to try to make a valuable movie for people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's not like, people want to know the story of anybody now. You can Wikipedia that stuff, and you can find out. The facts weren't interesting. Or it's not that they weren't interesting, but they weren't enough to want to make a movie out of. It was the combination of all those things that I felt like we had a story to tell.
Okay, and and Ben is the main character in the movie. He plays Blaze. So why did you decide to select him as the main character for?
I wouldn't have made the film without Ben. There was no like, I want to make a movie about Blaze. Let's cast Ben Dickey. It was more, the film grew out of our friendship, and a mutual appreciation, and a shared love of Blaze's music. Okay. We took Blaze's music and kind of used it as a spine to tell the story of his life. His life is so manifest in his music. It's so personal that I could, almost like an opera or something, use the songs to tell the story.
Right. Okay, very nice. And I know that you're a real-life singer-songwriter. Did you have any other challenges or any challenges in this role besides the singing and the performing aspect of it?
Well, I mean, I'd never been in front of a camera playing like that before, and I was nervous as hell.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether or not I'd be able to pull it off. I had a little safety net under me, which was I could play the songs, and I really steeped myself in the songs. And I didn't know where I was going to be with it until we started moving. The actors in the movie, and Charlie Sexton as a musician also acting, he and I kind of went into it. He had done it a little bit more than I had, but we both kind of like were taking a breath together and exploring it together. Alia was extremely generous to me and invited me in.
She's a great actress.
And she's a great artist and a great actress. And I mean, we bonded over nerves. I mean, I told her how nervous I was, and she said, "Good, me too." And she said, "You got to figure out what to do with it." And as a performing musician, she knew I knew what that meant. And Josh Hamilton, who was an enormous help to me, and the people that he brought in, were handling me with care, and I felt it. And it didn't make me feel, fragile. It just made me feel confident. It helped me a lot. But I was nervous the whole time. I'm nervous anytime there's an opportunity to express myself. I think it's fuel.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And I know the film is shot in 3 different time periods, correct? Yeah. Why did you decide to produce it that way, where it's 3 different time periods instead of maybe from the moment he was a young child to when he died?
It's almost like if there's a picture. Sometimes you go to church and they tell the story of St. Francis or something, and it's a piece of stained glass. I almost pictured the story of Blaze as a stained glass, except there's somebody took a hammer to it, and it shattered. He was murdered, and when the tragedy happens like that, the glass breaks, and there's all this fighting over the narrative of a person's life and what the story is, or this is what happens, that's what happened. And in a way, I wanted the movie just to be these different shards of glass, and that you, by seeing a few specific panes of glass, you could imagine what the whole might be. We're never going to be, no movie is going to give you the whole of a human being's life.
Right.
No movie could possibly begin to do such a thing. But you could give you windows into it, and that's what we could do.
Okay, very nice. And I know you won the special jury award at the Sundance Film Festival. How does it feel to have your peers recognize you in that way before the film is even really released?
Oh, it was just tremendously overwhelming, and unexpected. And I didn't really know that there was like an awards ceremony at Sundance. And I told Ethan, I was like, "Man, you have to come up there with me in the moment." And I took a deep breath, but. What it was an enormous thrust of grace for our movie. It's for all the work we put forward to it. And I knew that as soon as I, was standing in front of all those wonderful artists and talking to them. And then, I had to pee really bad when that award happened. And I was so confused.
You hate that?
They said my name, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they said my name.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear on what was happening. But when we were celebrating that night, I felt like it was everybody's award. And it was something that I wouldn't have been in any position to be, excel in performance at all. It hadn't been for him, and hadn't it been for the world that he created for us to operate in. So it was really everybody's award. I just happened to be in the hat and the guitar. So it felt really good. It felt really good, and wow.
And people take. It's a funny thing that I think people that don't work on movies don't really understand that. It's very easy, in a way, the obvious choice. Actors, cinematographers, art directors, they all love to work with, say, George Clooney or Chris Pratt or some Denzel, Al Pacino, whoever you want to put, because your work's going to get seen. And it's a particular gamble when people say, "You know what? I believe in this guy." So Ben's not wrong. their belief, so many people from Jake Seal, our producer, to a lot of people said, you know what, I believe in this project, and so your award was a payoff in their belief, you know, and they felt it, and it was wind in everybody's sail, going, no, you know what, I do have good taste, and I knew that if I did my job right, that this person would excel, and it was a great feeling for everybody involved.
Okay, and what would you like for people to take away from the film? You want to go first and then follow?
You know, when I love a movie, it's very hard for me to explain why. Mm-hmm. You know, when I really love a movie, you know, something might, oh, that's funny or this, that, but if something really gets to me, like Ben and I we were in Santa Fe and we saw a re-release of Paris, Texas, and you walk out, it's hard to say why you love it. It's just, you feel like you have it spoke to you and you have a own private relationship to it. And my dream was always to make, you know, when you do a performance, you want to hide little secrets in there for like-minded people to find or give meaning to. And I hope the movie speaks to them wherever they are in their own life. The movie definitely loves music, it's in love with love. Mm-hmm. And so I hope that finds people.
Okay. Yeah, it's music to me. It's songwriting, the magic of songwriting. Blaze talks a little bit about where do songs come from. You know what happens when he talks about Hank Williams, "I'm so lonesome I could die," and where was that song before it came into the world, and how could it have not been here the whole time? Because it's so resonant with people. Mm-hmm. Also, there's just like little simplicities in life, and being around people that you're fond of, and someone telling a joke that's so funny you blow milk out of your nose, and that it's a fleeting thing being alive, and people make stuff for each other and they care for each other, and music is the clearest language that we speak.
Oh yeah.
And it's also breathing is also the clearest language that we speak. So I think when people leave this, like we were talking about Paris, Texas, you don't know why it moved you, but it moved you. And when our characters are in love in the movie, it moves you. And when they break up, you know what that's like. People have their hearts broken. Mm-hmm. And when tragedy strikes and how you react to it, everyone knows what that feels like. So it's all of those things, But it's these weird little simplicities that being human often, they're not as exciting as ramping off of the cliff and blowing up in a blaze of glory, you know what I mean?
Right, definitely. And, the first movie that I ever went on a date on was Reality Bites in '94.
Wow. How did it go?
Yeah. We went to Taco Bell after.
A bean burrito.
You know what? I was a freshman in high school, and she was a senior, so I was going out with her.
That's pretty impressive already.
You felt like a stud, huh?
Yeah,
that's cool.
So we had a good time. But how have you grown over the past 20 years as an actor since Reality Bites to Training Day to now?
I think it's fun. I've had that thought. How have I grown? I've asked myself that question. And
2.5 inches.
I think people love this idea that life moves in some steady kind of ladder-like way, and each experience builds and makes you better. And I don't know if that's true. Sometimes to me it seems like it moves in more mysterious circles. And I saw Reality Bites on TV, a clip of it the other day, and I realized that there's a lot of things I know now that I didn't know then, but I've also lost things that I... I was like, that's interesting. I wouldn't be able to do that now. But there's, you're constantly shedding skins, right?
Yeah.
And,
literally.
And so it's like, there are aspects of me back then that make my skin crawl, and there's aspects of me that I'm proud of, and and sometimes they happen side by side, and you just gotta keep moving, right?
Yeah.
That's all I kind of keep doing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, wisdom comes with age, right? So you're probably a lot wiser than what you were in 94,
It comes with experience.
93.
That's what I really think. I had a director once, Sidney Lumet, this great filmmaker. He's 83 when he was directing me. Mm-hmm. And, he would say it's not rocket science. I've actually done this a lot, and I know if you go left, chances are high that you're going to fall over there. And I know that if you go, there's just certain rules to this planet.
Yeah.
And the more you do things, the more you learn about it. Mm-hmm. And so, but you lose energy. You lose, if you're careful, you can lose joy. You know, bitterness is an enemy out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, boredom is an enemy. Curiosity is a friend. You know?
Yeah.
Definitely. And, you know, obviously you mentioned Denzel Washington earlier. Training Day was such a huge film. I would be remiss not to bring it up. What is one thing that, well, would there ever be a Training Day 2?
Well, I don't think so, because I'm very proud of that movie, and the engine of that movie is Denzel's totally galvanizing performance, you know, and his character Alonzo dies, and so the story's over.
Yeah.
And Jake's arc, it's pretty clear who Jake is, so I feel that piece is complete. What I took away is if you see somebody work at what you love at a very high level, it is exciting and educating. I mean, I got to sit in the passenger seat of that Monte Carlo and watch one of the greatest people to ever do my profession work in a really challenging role. Oh, yeah. And I walked away from that not the same person. You know, he's a magnificent actor, and there are riddles inside him that, you know, that I was just beginning to understand. But he did show me what it looks like to act at a very high level, and the level of commitment it takes, and playfulness and wildness and confidence and ability to listen and pay attention and always seek.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, you were excellent also. I mean, give
Well,
yourself
thanks,
some credit. Denzel was good, but you were good
what
also.
I mean is that, thank you, but what's the point? You know, you play tennis with somebody who's great, your game goes up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and but hopefully, then you walk away and you don't let your game drop. I mean, I tried, I did a bunch of movies with Richard Linklater, and he really gave me a lot of confidence. Having somebody really smart who's a friend of yours, who really believes in you, it gives you confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to go to set with Denzel as if I knew that, you know, Denzel doesn't need anybody to kiss his shoes and tell him he's great. He knows he's great. What he needs is somebody to stand their own ground. You know, I watched him with Gene Hackman in what's this? Is a submarine movie? Crimson Tide. Denzel is so good when he has somebody to act with.
Yeah.
And I watched him and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to get a hold of this character, because the way this movie could be great is if there were actually two people in the movie. Because a lot of times he blows people off the screen, you know.
Right. Well, it's good when you can play off of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So, but I took a lot from that experience. I learned a lot.
Okay.
Antoine was a big part of that, though, I have to say. He treated me like an equal. He treated me with respect. And that when people do that for you, you treat yourself with respect.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Denzel would have the whole idea, and Antoine would go, well, what do you think? And I was like, whoa, I guess he cares what I think. You know, and then you have to say, well, what do I think?
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
JMG Live. Music Lounge.
You have an amazing accent. Where are you from?
Here in Houston.
Here in Houston?
Yeah.
You got a great way of talking.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
You know, yeah.
Well, maybe I'll be an actor after journalism.
Yeah.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
Thanks for tuning in to the JMG Live Music Lounge. If you're listening to the podcast through iTunes, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And be sure to follow me, your host, Jakari Harris, on social media. Until next time.
Visit jmgmags.com to download the latest episodes of the JMG Live Music Lounge podcast. This portion of the show is sponsored by Avant Media Institute.